We're not loyal to Barack Obama or to the GOP. We're not loyal to any of them. We're loyal to our communities.
But we want to get the 50 to 100 leaders committed before Congress?
Yeah. Yes. Of these people.
We got the faith community engaged, we got the labor community involved, we got the legal academia involved.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
We did pray-ins, we did caroling outside the Capitol. They were, of course, civil disobedience sit-ins.
The Department of Homeland Security is taking steps to lift the shadow of deportation from these young people.
In June, President Obama announced he would grant work permits and temporary reprieve from deportation to young, undocumented immigrants. The initiative is called Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals.
Deferred action for childhood arrivals didn't happen because President Obama woke up one day and said, I'm gonna do this. I feel good today and I'm gonna give dreamers something. There was a lot of work to make that happen. It was years of organizing, of storytelling, of defiance, of coming out, and sharing who we are with America.
But the reprieve is temporary. Julieta Garibay and Lorella Praeli grew up in the U.S. without legal papers. They're part of a growing movement of undocumented youth. They call themselves Dreamers.
I'm asking her to vote in favor of the DREAM Act.
This fall, they moved to Washington, D.C. to be in the center of the immigration debate on Capitol Hill and to hold the president to his promise for a path to citizenship.
Within the Dreamer movement, we have learned how important it is that people really know who you are, that we're not just out in the fields, that we're not out in a Home Depot waiting for a job. I am 32 years old, but I was brought here when I was 12.
I was born in Ica, Peru, and when I was 2.5, I had a car accident. So that resulted in the amputation of my right limb and led to many treatments at Shriners Hospital in Tampa, Florida. When I was 10, my parents made a decision to move here.
At an immigration summit in October, Julieta showed just how bold she's become about her illegal status. She confronted the head of deportation operations for the U.S. government.
Other questions here?
My name is Julieta. I'm with United We Dream. I'm an undocumented immigrant myself. I really wanted to ask, since DACA was announced till now.
When I started, it wasn't even called the DREAM movement. I found out through my sister about the DREAM Act. I was about to graduate with my bachelor's degree from UT Austin, and I was thinking my diploma is just going to be another pretty frame on the wall. I had no idea what I was going to do, and my sister comes in and she says, I just found out about the DREAM Act. This is your solution, Julie. You're going to be able to work. And back then I was totally in love with nursing and I wanted to practice. That was the love of my life. I just wanted people to hear my story. I wanted people to know that I existed. It's what our movement needed. We needed the numbers to come out in masses and say, we are undocumented and we're part of this community and we are aspiring citizens of this country.
I'm moving here, and I've actually never lived outside of Connecticut for any longer than 2 to 3 months. Oh, hey. In 2009, stuff started to pick up. So this is the time when you see in the United States that dreamers begin to come out. They're sharing their stories. I'm undocumented, I'm unafraid, and some were saying I'm unapologetic. So I wanted to come out, but I was scared to come out. I didn't write out a statement. I didn't put any remarks together. I haven't thought about what it means to come out in such a public way. And I did it. I said I didn't tell my mom that I was going to do this today. See, for years I learned to be quiet and to live in the shadows and to hide, and that my status was too dangerous to discuss in public. I would not be able to have stood here a few months ago and to share this with you. But I can no longer just sit and wait for something to happen without being involved in the process.
A turning point for the movement was December 2010, when the DREAM Act came before Congress. The DREAM Act would have created a path to citizenship for young undocumented immigrants.
Hoy no más palabras. Hoy queremos su voto a favor.
Julieta and Lorella joined hundreds of other dreamers at the Capitol.
We sat in the gallery of the House, and we all held hands.
And then they said it's passed. And we literally started screaming and jumping and crying. And then of course we had the Senate vote. We didn't get our vote. And so we got up And we went downstairs, and by the time I got downstairs, the entire floor was filled with dreamers. We just formed this huge mob, which is never allowed in Capitol grounds, and we were just crying and we started chanting. And I think that's where many of the dreamers really felt like we were a family, like we are in this together and we're gonna keep on fighting regardless of what the vote goes or how or who wins the elections.
There was no way we could pass a DREAM Act in 2011, and so we began to think more creatively about what other options are there available for dreamers.
Now, I know some people want me to bypass Congress and change the laws on my own. Believe me.
We knew President Obama was going to speak at NCLR. And of course, back then, the talking point was, I can't do anything. It's the Congress.
Right now, dealing with Congress, the idea...
In April of this year, United We Dream leaders met with Valerie Jarrett and other senior White House officials.
And that is a moment where we basically challenged the administration and said, I remember looking at her and saying, with all due respect, Valerie, we have looked into this and our attorneys have looked into this. And, there are three options that the president could take. One is deferred action.
The morning before the deferred action was announced, they were getting ready to do a big action in LA. And then we hear, oh, deferred action just got announced.
This is not a path to citizenship. It's not a permanent fix. This is a temporary stopgap measure that lets us focus our resources wisely while giving a degree of relief and hope to talented, driven, patriotic young people.
Applicants for deferred action must be between the ages of 16 and 30. When it was announced, Julieta was just a year over the age limit.
We've been pushing this since we lost our vote. It's okay if I'm aged out. We'll figure something out. But I know, this is it. We have a win.
Part of the vision for the United We Dream Network has always been to build a dreamer army.
It's been a big change, but I still feel like we have so much more to go.
I'm very confident that we can get immigration reform done. My expectation is that we get a bill introduced and we begin the process in Congress very soon after my inauguration.